And recording. All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Few technical hiccups, but we got it under control. Thank you for everyone's help. My name is Marissa Pisa. I am one of the vice chairs of the Green Party of Suffolk County. Thank you for joining us. We did mention we will be recording this evening for anybody who cannot join, so we will be able to have them share what's discussed tonight. So thank you for being here. Victoria, one of our speakers, had a last-minute emergency, is not able to join us, but we have Dawn Marie Green and Cynthia Bryan Kate who are here, and we're very glad to have them. As you may or may not know, today is Transgender Day of Remembrance, and they are here to tell us a little bit about how this came about, what it means, what things are happening in our area regarding this, and what you can do to learn more, to be involved, and to work together to have a more just society for everyone. So without further ado, Dawn and Cynthia, you both should be unmuted. And whoever would like to start first, if you would like to introduce yourselves to everybody, that would be great.
Quick thing, can you see and hear me?
We can see and hear you.
Good, the app always acts weird for me, sorry.
Okay, Cynthia, do you want to go first?
Okay, yeah, I guess I can do an intro of who I am, and then you want to go, or do I say what TDoR is? How you want to do this?
So we'll have you
Absolutely.
both introduce
Tell us-
yourself. So Cynthia first, and if you want to go first, and then Dawn, and then whoever would like to speak on the topic between the two of you, totally up to you two.
Yeah, we'll handle this. Yeah, hi folks. For anyone who doesn't already know me, I'm Cynthia Bryan Kate. Let's see, I'm a transgender woman and an intersex chimera. For folks who may not know all the terms, I've done workshops, rallies, protests, and 101 stuff on gender issues for a quarter century. And from previous events, I've learned make sure people know at least what the heck you're talking about first. So, okay, transgender, as in people who live as, know themselves to be, and express a gender other than one expected of them at birth. Intersex, biologically in between male and female, by variations in any or all sex characteristics. Chimera, result of siblings merging in utero. So that's what got me into a lot of desire to do education 101, some advocacy and activism. Because when I first came out about all this, I had very few resources, knew very few people, didn't really have much to reach out to, and decided after finding some wonderful people, places, and things that I would actually try to make the world a bit more knowledgeable about and open to folks like me and all the other people who have any gender identity or expression different than the standard cisgender heterosexual kind of expectations. I've been a green since about 2009 because I met the wonderful Marissa, who lured me to my first Green Party of Suffolk meetings. And I've been a vice chair since what, 2012-ish, I think. And I've been doing, as I said, events and education stuff on all these issues since the end of the 90s. And that's kind of what brings me here tonight. I'll let Dawn go, and then we'll see which of us does what next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dawn. I'm up in Michigan. I'm a Green. And I have been active in Eco Action, the National Women's Caucus, and the Lavender Caucus. And I just try to do what I can to make a difference. TDoR is really important, and Cynthia's going to explain exactly what that is right now.
Yeah, and thanks for mentioning a couple of the National Green Party things. We're both on the National Women's Caucus. The Lavender, let's see, what's it? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual spectrum caucus, which is such a long list of words and letters that we usually just say lavender within the party. What?
I know.
Oh.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, okay. Oh. Okay. Okay.
This is fine.
Hi, could we ask everybody to mute themselves, please? Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll have Q&A as soon as we're done talking. I promise. I'm not going to go to whole freaking out. So, but seriously, yes, let's see.
You got it?
TDOR is say one.
You're good, Cynthia.
So yes, today is November 20th, which is TDOR or Transgender Day of Remembrance. I would say pretty much the most serious day of the year for those of us who have any connection to gender issues or care about people whose gender not just standard cis hetero stuff. Uh, Basically, it was started in 1999 by transgender activist and reporter Gwendolyn Ann Smith, who I met when she came to the University of Michigan, right before I met Dawn Marie. And the event was founded as a small thing in the Bay Area to start bringing awareness to the murders of transgender women, particularly transgender women of color, while the violence TDoR addresses is intersectional and affects a huge intersection of identities like class, race, gender, ability, and economics and such. One of the unfortunately more disproportionately at threat populations are TWOC or transgender women of color. And TDOR was founded to bring awareness to and try improving the situation of discrimination, violence, and murder. These murders directed against transgender, intersex, non-binary as people who don't identify as man or woman, and gender non-conforming, which is pretty much anybody who acts or dresses or does anything other than the stereotypical gender stereotypes. So there's also the idea of commemorating the lives of people who've been murdered in such violence, both nationwide and worldwide. The website on all that is TDOR.translivesmatter.info. And the point of the day also to show the solidarity of all the people who believe that gender expression and identity should be safely expressed, and that violence is bad and murder is bad. So yeah, that's why we're here tonight, to bring up all awareness on this kind of stuff. These are everybody's issues. It's just I happen to be a green. I am in a political party which actually has a national platform, which you can go to the Green Party national site. Marissa, could you put the links for that somewhere later? Because I'm a little too focused on this topic to think of links properly. But our national platform actually has text saying that we support gender identity and expression, that we support intersex people's rights to bodily autonomy and to be able to make medical decisions about their own body with fully informed consent, that non-binary people get to identify with a gender other than man or woman, and that we are working as a party to secure and protect equal rights for people of every gender, and bring awareness to the unfortunate situation of the violence, discrimination, and murder that TDoR address. That's, I feel, part of why we're here as Greens, because we care about making a better, safer, and more just world, which is really what this is all about.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Dawn?
Well, Cynthia just said it in a nutshell. We're here to raise awareness and to try to help prevent any more murders from happening. One of the ways that we do that is through education and intervention. Education, teaching people that, it's okay to be different, and actually taking a stand and intervening when we see bullying and worse behaviors happening. It's important for all of us to understand and to recognize that it's okay for us to be who we are and for us to have a welcoming environment for that to be okay. It's so important, especially with the Green Party, for us to be able to stop any of the bullying that we see with the National Committee and any other places. There's just so much that's going on behind the scenes sometimes. All it takes is one person to stand up and say, stop, that's not right.
Yeah.
And it'll prevent that behavior from continuing.
That's one of the things the Green Party does, because right now this is the one political party I know of which is actually supporting people's right to gender diversity and gender expression. Unfortunately, the Republican Party has, in the past couple of years, actually declared the doctrine of eradication of transgender rights, and I feel of trans and gender diverse lives. They are banning the right to all sorts of things throughout the country in whatever states they have footholds. Unfortunately, there's all these bills and laws to, among other things, deprive trans and gender nonconforming young people of the right to free expression, to any kind of gender affirming health care, including hormonal or other options. And unfortunately, the Democratic Party, I'm speaking blanket statement, I know, because there are good people in every party. But I'm talking about the leadership. The leaders of the Republicans are doing that. The leaders of the Democrats are standing aside and letting such things happen. And sadly, this is costing more lives in addition to people who've been murdered. We also have young people who are at risk of killing themselves, but they're being forced to under puberty that does not fit them. And there have been something like half a dozen suicides on the TDoR here, including a Louisiana state senator's transgender son who was working in various political arenas but did not feel he could live anymore when every state that was near him was banning the right of people to have the options he had. I myself am looking into medical gender transition. Social was when I came out, started using name y'all know and wearing stuff like this rather than the boy clothes I was expected to. Uh, I'm lucky that I live in a state like New York where nothing's being banned, and we actually do have some benevolent laws, though there's at least one that's still waiting in committee. But oddly enough, the gender doctor whom I'm studying actually fled to New York because they could no longer practice in the state that they had grown up and had to move their entire here because of the hateful laws of too many states in this country. That's one of the things the Green Party is about fighting. We're about fighting the bad laws and bad decisions and hate, and we're about supporting and encouraging anything of laws and politicians who want to get things done. Let's see, New York State, as of 2019, after a 17-year battle, finally passed the Gender Expression Non-Discrimination Act, so we're all safe to express our gender here in New York, at least. We banned the panic defense, which when somebody commits a murder, God forbid, of somebody who's trans or gender diverse, in New York, the killer can no longer say, "Oh, well, I was scared of that person's gender, so," and then use that as an excuse to blame somebody for their own death. And we do have some laws like Dignity for All Students Act to mandate that schools protect students. The thing is, there's another bill. I can't think of the numbers right now. I have zero math skills on a day when I'm not focused on such urgent issues. So, Maris, could you please throw the info on that up sometime? But there's a bill in the state assembly and senate, been there for about at least the past 4 or 5 years, which would mandate that schools have explicit mechanisms to put things in place for when a student is bullied, how to fix that, when a student wants encouraged to express their gender, how to encourage that. So this is the kind of stuff that we can work on as a party to urge the state legislature to pass a bill like this, to make it clear that we are all standing up for such rights.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Dawn?
Well, now I think it would be time for us to open it up for discussion so we can discuss what we can do to help make this number shorter each year.
Yeah.
I'll kick it off with I guess, a blanket question for both of you. If somebody is unfamiliar with the community but knows they want to do something to help be a part of the solution, what's the first thing you would recommend that they do?
Dawn, you want to go?
No, go ahead, Cynthia.
Well, let's see. First of all, I would say make it clear that you do want to know more about the gender communities. Make it clear that you do want to help make the world better. I would say educate yourself on everything you can, but also talk to people. Not everybody will talk about everything in their lives, but if you ask honest questions, there is every likelihood that people will be glad to at least have a conversation. I certainly do that. I mean, I don't say that everybody is ready to as much as I am, but y'all know me, and everybody who's in front of me right now. I've talked about this stuff for what feels like forever, and I will talk to anyone that wants to talk to me, has honest questions, is asking in an actual spirit of wanting to know better. And from there, you know, besides educating yourself and asking questions, assuming, which even I've done in my day, trust me, everyone does, which is why you ask rather than assume. Uh, I would say not just come out to events like these, but put it out there that you want to get involved in helping on things, whether you're trans, cis, or some other gender entirely. I feel this is all of our job to come together and discuss things and make it clear that both the trans and gender diverse people and all the supporters and friends and family members and such want to make things better.
Thank
Dawn?
you so much.
Absolutely. I agree with everything you say there. Reach out, be friendly.
And
And
Dawn,
make,
you're based in Michigan, correct?
yep.
How do you see this? I mean, Cynthia has spoken about a New York perspective, and thank you, Roger. Roger, our chair, just put GP, if you can't say gp.org/platform, has many of the things that Cynthia is speaking about, to find them there in our from the Green Party state sense. But regarding Michigan, how do you see the community in your location? Are people welcoming? Do they want to learn more? Is there a respect factor, or do you find there's still a lot of work to be done?
There is a lot to be done, but we did have a really wonderful thing that just happened. The housing. Cynthia, you know exactly what it was I'm talking about.
You mean
But you
Elliot Larson?
That's right.
Okay, since most of the folks here will be from New York, I lived in Michigan for 5 years between '03 and '08. Met Dawn at a sci-fi convention in '05. I tripped over a cable and landed in the big comfy chair that her jewelry booth had attached. So I've been involved off and on with Michigan politics. The state non-discrimination law that covers all the categories, race, class, ability, gender, sex, religion, all that named Elliot Larson. I wish I could spell at the moment, but forever it took nearly 40 years to get it done. But as of the past bunch of months, maybe a year, Dawn has the dates better than me, they finally amended Elliot Larson to include gender identity and expression as protected categories statewide, which means that no matter where you go in Michigan, you're protected.
And that was a huge win for everyone. Because there was areas that were still discriminating based upon gender and gender expression. That's actually how Cynthia lost her apartment and ended up moving back to New York.
Yeah, I was living, oddly enough, it was technically part of Ypsilanti, which is bigger cities in Michigan. And even though Ypsilanti secured and later successfully defended full LGBT rights, a particular apartment complex I was living in chose to ignore, let's see, the Americans with Disabilities Act, since I'm legally blind, my eye focus is over the map as yields, as well as all the rules on gender that Ypsilanti had. I was pretty much kicked out of an apartment that I had lived in for the whole time, but even before I'd known Dawn. And my family had to rescue me the last minute in winter '08. And at the second Dawn told me we fixed Elliot Larson, I did the Snoopy dance in my room for an hour. New York is like, by the way, before we had gender, I live currently in a town called Ridge. My aunt, who actually got me some dresses you'll have seen me in, lives in Long Beach. Before gender, I was safe and protected for all my rights where I sat on my butt in my room. But when I went to my aunt's house, my rights disappeared the minute my cute little feet hit Long Beach soil. And it took until 19 to fix that here. So yeah, things are getting better, but it's taken a lot of work.
We have a question from Artie.
How you doing, guys? I'm really happy with everything you guys do, but I think utilizing groups like the Trevor Project and other nonprofits have been super helpful. I had a woman in Brentwood who approached me when I was with the Libertarian Party. Her daughter committed suicide due to the bullying. And well, it was actually, it wasn't suicide. It was she had a mental stress issue which caused an aneurysm, but it was basically, unfortunately, the same thing, because it was forced trauma from mental abuse. I reached out to the Trevor Project and a few others. They were extremely helpful. They approached the school, they approached the superintendents, and they were trying to put together a program to work with the teachers and other faculty members to actually how to handle things like that. Super helpful.
That's great. Do you have their website or information offhand, Artie, or somebody just Googles that they could find that information?
You can literally go to the trevorproject.org, and they work the LGBTQ plus community, all rights, and they will literally contact schools or anything else you can help with. They're amazing.
Thanks for bringing all this up, and thanks for coming forward. There's one other that I will mention, the Trans Lifeline. I think it's translifeline.org. As I said, I'm going to ask Marissa to throw links wherever they need when this thing gets posted. Trans Lifeline for trans, gender non-conforming, non-binary, and intersex. Pretty much anybody who's somewhere on the gender community. Trans Lifeline, crisis and suicide prevention hotline. For about 2.5 years, I was one of the holy cow, that's late at night operators, since I generally don't sleep much and I'm up all night anyways, being goth as heck. I was, for a couple years, if you needed their help and called between midnight and 6 a.m., there was a good possibility you might have gotten me. So it's translifeline.org. I think that's the link.
Excellent. And then Artie just put the trevorproject.org. And what we'll do is when we'll send the recording out, we'll put important links as well in the email and on all the social media postings and the website. So people can pull these important links for, future as they go through things. If they need to use any of these resources, we'll definitely make sure that they are posted.
There's the Trans Network too. This is right in Long Island. It's in Suffolk County.
Oh yeah, locally, trcli.org, Transgender for Long Island. They're wonderful people. Let's see. I'm most familiar with Ursula, who's done a lot of the outreach and work there. They are wonderful. I've been to some of their history lectures that they've done on trans history at various libraries on the island. They have some support groups. They have people that you can reach out to. I just figured first I'd mention the national stuff, then the local, but thank you. I think that's trcli.org.
And we'll check that too. Any links, we'll definitely put that in the information we send out for sure. We had a question. This is to both Dawn Marie and Cynthia. Somebody had emailed us. They were not able to attend tonight, but they wanted to ask a question in general. They have a family member who has recently expressed and let them know that they are transgender and they have been keeping this to themselves for many, many years. And they wanted to find out the best resources, both mental health wise and also I guess we could say physical health, doctor wise, in Suffolk County, Long Island. What are the first steps they should take, to who to reach out to start finding out what their options are for, hormone therapy, any kind of surgeries, things like that? What would you both, even if it's a national network that can help give them some resources, what are somebody who's actually living this and wants to know, how do they figure out how to truly live authentically as themselves? What are some resources you would recommend that we could recommend to them?
I would
Um,
recommend Trans Resource Center of Long Island, particularly if they're in Suffolk. They have, I believe, Suffolk and Nassau people, and they would be great at connecting these, the folks that reached out to you with a lot of these resources. The website should have both the phone number, the email. It should have all the contact info. I just don't have it up in front of me because my focus with technology is pretty narrow. I can just manage this iPhone right now.
Excellent. And what about Dawn Marie, on a broader scale outside of Long Island? Are there any particular other networks that you would recommend to somebody in that situation?
I believe that Planned Parenthood is actually really good with a hormone therapy and some of those connections as well.
Oh yeah, them too. I've had some very good times. Uh, several of their locations. They have been doing various things on gender affirming care, particularly hormone transition, for several years now. They have branches all over Long Island. For your folks in Suffolk, though they are quite national.
Excellent. And thank you, Amy, posted in the chat, trcli.org. So again, another important website for resources that we'll make sure that we pass on.
Website good. I stink at remembering links.
That's all right. We work together on those things.
Yep. Thanks. No, thanks for checking that.
Absolutely. Okay, we have about, this is an X, and then also another one, lgbtnetwork.org. And just confirming that one, is that a local or is that a national contact? Local.
Yeah, that should be mostly Suffolk, some Nassau. I think they have
Queens too. They do Queens.
Right, Queens as well. They had a Sag Harbor location. I don't know if that's still around. But they definitely have one in Suffolk, at least one in Nassau, one in Queens.
Excellent. So I have a general question that I imagine you guys probably get asked a lot. The average person who wants to get involved and help support and say, maybe they themselves are not transgender, but they want to actively support the community wherever they live, be it Long Island. Another Long Island Crisis Center.org. Thank you so much. Another link. And again, we will make sure that when we send out the recording, we will have as many links as possible to give the resources. So thank you all for putting those in there. What would you
mainly Nassau, but they just opened the Suffolk office, Deer Park, I think, maybe.
Oh, excellent.
That's the same place. It's the same place that has the youth center Pride for Youth, I believe, is connected with the Long Island Crisis Center.
Oh, excellent. Good. It's great to hear that there are more resources opening. And I guess on a national front, if people are asking, how can I actively get involved to really do my part to show the community I support them? What are some things you would tell people who maybe have not been involved before with supporting something and supporting their neighbors, who may not be living, the same life as them, but they want to be supportive all the same? What are some steps you would tell people what to do to get involved in that way?
You want to go first, Dawn? I'm curious what you might have. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Well, there's always the Pride events that happen in June. That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
great way of getting to know in your area and resources and just, being able to affirm that, you support that.
I went to a whole bunch of Pride events throughout the island and a few other places, including when I was in Michigan. And yeah, we actually had a lot of people both from in and outside the community at those. And I know there are other events all over the place. I've just not been keeping as much track as I probably should on some of them. But definitely finding events and people who are as open as I am about this kind of stuff. If you run across other folks that are just being out there all over the place, don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Say hi there. You're wonderful. Would you like to talk for a couple minutes and see where you get with that? I mean, heck, cute, funny thing. I've told this story before. I've known Marissa since what, 2010? Was it 2011, 2012, maybe? I was at that Beatles band. I think they called something. We were there. Your mom got to see you with all that makeup all over the place and your every genre of clothing in one spot. Saw me in whatever foofy evening dress. And yeah, Marissa's mom looked at me in the evening gown, pointed at Marissa looking like something Lady Gaga wished she could have put together, and then looked at Marissa. Why the hell can't you wear something like she's got once in a while? And we laugh about that to this day.
Absolutely. There's another question in the chat I wanted to pose to both of you. The question comes from Harry, and Harry asked, is it helpful if we normalize pronouns and tags and preferred ways of addressing people?
Certainly, because I think that everybody should respect pronouns, preferred names, all of that. And that's not just a trans thing. That can be an everybody thing. I'm glad that I see everywhere I go pronouns that everybody has listed somewhere. When I needed some reference help the other day, one of my favorite librarians emailed me a bunch of articles back. It had her pronouns at the bottom. And I'm like, oh, so it's not just me having to do this as it's the trans person saying these are the trans person's pronouns. No, instead it was, okay.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. So that having pronouns in your bio, your signature, your name tag, whatever it is not outing you as a trans person. It's just everybody does this by default, so it's just normal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is pretty much everybody's got their pronouns, and I believe that everybody should be able to ask, what do you want me to call you? What name do you prefer? I even have met a few cisgender people who hate the name that their parents gave them and will not want that old name used. And while you mostly hear of the word dead name among trans people, the name we were given at birth that we don't use anymore, I've met a few cis people that also have that whole thing where, no, you're not you. And I asked them, do you think it's the same thing? And they've said it's at least similar. So yeah, the only danger is if everybody has to sit there and recite what their pronouns are every minute, you're not going to get something done. So instead, it's more, you ask people, what do you want me to call you? When I give an event like this, I'll say, everybody's pronouns gets respected. If a pronoun gets messed up, let's see, the person who messed up's job is to say, I'm sorry. The person whose pronouns got messed up gets to say, okay, guess you didn't know which was which, and then things move on. I'd love to see what Dawn got on this.
It's definitely important. And yes, if everyone has their preferred pronouns given, it's a lot easier to not make mistakes.
I have a piggyback question off what Harry asked, which I think is a great question that he asked. Is it preferred? Because I was actually in a situation, I was speaking at a school recently, and there were some students who came up to me and had asked me what my pronouns were. And I'm not in schools very often. I don't work in that setting regularly. And it was interesting because I haven't when I was in school, that wasn't something I had heard. And then I guess my question is it more recommended that you ask that question, or that you just address somebody generally and see if they are comfortable with offering that information to you? What do you think is the best way to handle that?
Well, if I give a workshop, I will say, here's my pronouns. I was too busy doing tech stuff and everything to start with that. But yeah, I tell people I'm Cynthia Brian Kate. My pronouns are she, her, hers. Uh, I all y'all get to say whatever yours are if you want. If people have the pronoun buttons, they got the little stick-on name tags, which always fall off of my clothing or get stuck in my hair, but we got them things. So yeah, I think that if you're a presenter, you can definitely say, here's what mine are. All yours will be respected. I think that's a good way to open up things, and I probably should have tonight.
Thank you so much. And Dawn, what would you say to that? The same kind of general way to handle?
Absolutely. I'll answer to anything polite, which I think is usually, what we're really looking for in the end anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all about respect. It's all about dignity. It's all about, the whole golden rule thing of treating people the way you want to be treated and all that. That's what should be in mind in general. And I'm glad that things are starting to get more that way in general, though obviously the fact that we even still need a day like today for anything other than history purposes shows we still got work to do.
To that point, Cynthia, you bring up a good point. So I know that besides the Day of Remembrance, there's another day related to transgender, discussing things like that. Do you want to talk about that quickly, what that is, when it's celebrated, and what that's about?
Oh yeah, because let's see. Today I won't say it's a celebrated day. I'll say it's an observed day. It's an important day. But I freely admit this is not the cuddliest day of the year on this stuff. If you want something that's more fun and cute, March 31st is the official date of TDOV, Transgender Day of Visibility. And that's been around a while. I tried to schedule something for this year for us. I would love to see if we could do both days for the coming year. And that's pretty much to do. You get a lot more of the 101 stuff. You get a lot more people just talking about their lives. Today, a day like today is more needed for things like activism and getting out the idea that we need to fix a whole lot of messed up stuff, which is why we're here tonight. TDOV is more the thing that I would send people to who just want to see, okay, what's all this trans stuff? And maybe we can even have a party and snacks around it.
And are there, throughout the country, are there celebrations or events happening around TDOV that you know of? I know that our chapter, the Green Party of Suffolk, had spoken that we will be doing something in 2024, probably a little more May when it's warmer to get people outside, but still observing a little bit after March 31st. Are there regular things happening throughout the country and the area, in Michigan, Long Island, that you both are aware of on a regular basis?
Yeah, there were so many events that for Trans Day of Visibility that were being done throughout the country, throughout the state. I lost track of what was going on locally because I was running, oh wow, so many events between all the communities I am still part of. But yeah, there is stuff going on both days each year. And to me, the thing is, people, okay, neither today nor TOV are just a once yearly thing if you think about it, because the issues that we feel that we had to come together about tonight are ones that need to be confronted and addressed throughout the year. It's not just one day. If it was just one day a year, I'd have a lot more time on my hands, but also all the fun celebratory stuff. Yeah, you definitely have some fun on TDOV, but you can certainly have fun, hold an event, and hang out with people and all that throughout the year. I hope that people do.
So, TDOV was created in 2010 by Rachel Crandell, and she is the head of Transgender Michigan.
Right.
And that's in response to the overwhelming majority of media stories about violence. So, this was hopefully to create a day where you could refocus on celebrating the lives of transgender people and empowering people to live authentically.
Yeah,
So,
I few times. She's really cool. I used to go to events like this one, and I'd never lived in the same town as her, but yeah, she was cool. And that's the thing is, uh, it's good to have both things in mind. Both need to fix all the sad stuff and the chance to have all the fun time. And I will quote Raven Caldera, one of my shamans, is his advice for running a TDOR event is simply this quote, if you just tell people all the depressing, sad, violent stuff and send them home, they'll just be miserable. They won't do any of this ever again. They won't get involved. Give them a job to do, any job. Running for office if they want to run for office. Supporting bills and laws that are good for us. Raising hell with their politicians if their politicians don't get this already. If they feel up to speaking on panels and such, they can do that. Just being themselves and being good on this, whoever they are. And that includes even telling their Aunt Susie to shut the heck up if she makes a stupid transphobic joke at the Thanksgiving table. That's a full quote by Raven Caldera, and I keep it in mind every time I do anything on this. I do feel we all have to be ourselves up on as much as we can, to be as open as we can, and particularly as Greens, as I said, to support making that better world. Because I don't know about anybody else's exact plans, but I want to wake up someday, find out all the haters and jerks stopped hating and stopped killing and stopped beating up trans people, and I get to sit in a foofy rocking chair and have some young kids paint my nails while they ask Auntie Cynthia, tell us about the days back when people was stupid.
We'll get there. We will get there. And on that note, we've got a few minutes left. Did anybody have any additional questions or input before we go to Cynthia and Dawn Marie for final thoughts? Okay. So I know there's a lot covered tonight, and a lot of, and I have to say, I learned a lot. And Dawn, I was not aware that that began in Michigan, TDOV. So I learned something myself, besides all the other things I learned tonight. And thank you for letting us know that. So, would whoever would like to start first, if you guys would like to do final thoughts, any kind of wrap up, and any notes to leave everybody with for next steps and the future.
I think everybody here is part of the next steps of making a better future. Y'all came out tonight. Y'all saw the blurb that talks about a non-cuddly event with serious topics and decided that y'all did want to hear about this and asked amazing questions. And I know that I'm going to be hearing from a bunch of y'all after this event and at all the other events, and that you folks are certainly ready to keep talking about this kind of stuff and do work, which is what we need.
Thank you so much. And Dawn?
It's important for us to remember to do advocate work and to be open about our support.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if people want to get in touch with the two of you separately, how would they reach you?
I'm on Facebook as Cynthia Bryan Kate. I'll spell it Cyanthya, then Briankate. Or I'm on Gmail at The Sacred Sideshow. The word the THE, sacred like holy, sideshow like a circus.
You'll find me on Facebook as well, Dawn Marie Green, and you'll see a face with a earring, a rainbow earring.
Excellent. And I know that Victoria wasn't able to make it tonight, but Cynthia, I don't know if you wanted to share any contact information or a quick update on any quick information on her as well, since she was unfortunately unable to join us tonight.
Well, she would love to get involved on anything else. If it doesn't conflict with things like her heavy metal show she does or other things. Victoria Whitaker is the host of Victoria's World of Metal, which is found on WIOX and WCAA, and I think the Internet Archive. She's on Facebook. She's on my Facebook. She's the only Victoria who spells it with a K. And yeah, I don't know which email she'd want y'all to have. What would you say, since we both have known her for years?
The Facebook is probably the easiest way to get hold of both of us.
Yeah, we can all be found through Facebook, and both of them are on my Facebook.
Excellent. Thank you so much for Cynthia and to Dawn Marie for the important information tonight. Really, I learned a lot. I'm sure I speak for everybody. We had some great questions. And I think, being, as you both spoke so well about it, being part of the solution, whether it's a life you personally live or not, supporting each other for who we are and the lives that we're each living. As people had mentioned, mental health issues and things like that. Life goes fast. So to support one another and being our true, authentic selves, whoever we are, we all get further together. So I really commend you for the work you're doing. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us and give us these important information and the resources and everything else. Thank you, everybody, for your questions and for joining us. And as I had mentioned, this is recorded tonight. So one of our wonderful coordinating committee members, Gail, who does our tech, is going to have this all taken care of. Then it'll be on our website. It'll be emailed out. It'll be on our social media. And we'll also include the important links that we have and that were also shared this evening. So thank you so much. We wish you all a very healthy holiday season coming up. We thank you again for your time and the work that you will continue to do. And if for any reason you have to reach Cynthia, Dawn Marie, or Victoria and you did not catch their information, you can always go to the Green Party of Suffolk's website, contact us, and we can certainly put you in touch.
My email, thank you. That thing, and thank you all for having us.
Marissa,
thank you so much. Yes. Thank you for being here, Artie. We're really glad that you were able to join us.
Anything you guys need, please reach out to me. I'm always an ally with you guys.
Cool, thanks.
We really appreciate it. We appreciate all of you taking your time tonight, all the work that you each do. And we look forward to seeing you all again and working together on important issues. So take care, everybody. Thank you again to Cynthia and to Dawn Marie and to Victoria, who couldn't be here, but we thank her too. Yeah. And have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much.